Thanks for downloading Ehnother Podcast from inlcuding.com. Today's show can be found in many ways. iTunes, the inlcuding.com webpage, and now can be found on Stitcher.com. You can now stream the latest show anywhere with the Stitcher app, on your computer, even on your boss's computer. Ehnother Podcast is now at your fingertips every day of the week and at your convenience. Enjoy today's episode of Warlock Wednesdays. Ehnotherpodcast.com, not a sponsor. Hello and welcome to another Warlock Wednesday. It's the Warlock Hour with Rayzor, and I've got a little bit more of a entertainment news this week than I did last week, although it did go pretty good last week. This week we've got lots of entertainment news to get to, but first and foremost, we get to the comic book releases here on Warlock Wednesday, so let's get right to them. From DC Comics, Arrow number 8, Batman Superman number 1. It's a collection, or not a collection issue, but a team-up issue, and it's a new series that's going to be starting, obviously focusing on the two main DC characters, Batman and Superman. And then the following comics are all issue number 21s, Catwoman number 21, Justice League number 21, and also Superman number 21. From Marvel this week, a big week for Marvel, also a big week for the Independents, but we'll get that in a second. Big week for Marvel, so All New X-Men number 13 comes out this week, Deadpool number 12, Hawkeye number 11, Uncanny X-Men number 7, Wolverine number 5, X-Men number 2, and Young Avengers number 6. All of these issues I will be picking up. I didn't mention this, but I will not be picking up any issues from DC this week. I only collect 2, so that's probably why. The Independents this week, as I said, it was a big week. 2 issues from Dynamite Entertainment, Red Sonja number 77 and Vampirella number 30. However, IDW Publishing is busy this week. Doctor Who Prisoners of Time number 6 of a 12-part miniseries, Ghostbusters number 5, Judge Dredd number 8, Star Trek number 22, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles number 23, and True Blood number 14. So, like I said, a big week in comics this week, especially if you're a Batman and Superman fan from the DC universe. For the X-Men fans, it's a big week over in the Marvel universe with All New X-Men, Uncanny X-Men, X-Men, Wolverine. So, kind of a big deal for X-Men lovers in the Marvel universe. And then looks like IDW Publishing has their big week this week. So moving on to the biggest section here, the entertainment section. As always, we're going to first do the weekend box office numbers. I expected this, maybe not as much as they made, but I expected a new number 1. I didn't think Man of Steel could hold on, mostly due to many issues with the movie that I personally have. It didn't really feel like a great Superman movie. It was entertaining, it was fun, it was enjoyable, but as I said last week, there was definitely some stuff that just didn't belong. They made Jonathan Kent a dick. He condoned death. That is so wrong from the mythos. It's Jonathan and Martha Kent who instill the virtues of Superman into Clark Kent, and that is why he is so much better than the human race. I heard somebody said, well, that's to make him more human. But that's not the point. He's Superman. It's fantasy. It's fiction. He's not human. He's not supposed to be humanized. He is trying to emulate us. But he is so much above us that what this movie did to him was tear him down. And he's just he's more like I would say a superpowered Batman than a Superman. So, Warner Brothers fucks up again, in my opinion. And, it's going to continue to drop down the charts, mostly because when you have a release date set for after June 15th, like if your release date is June 15th or later, there is no way you're going to stay number one with all the summer movies that are coming out. Because every week you have a much anticipated or a blockbustery type or just a big movie almost every single week until like mid-August. So from mid-June to mid-August, almost every week there's a new number one. And we'll notice that as we go through here on Warlock Wednesdays. You'll see that there will almost be a new number one every week. It's hard to maintain that number one position. And the lots of preamble leads me to this week's number one, Monsters University, the sequel-prequel for Monsters, Inc., raked in an impressive $82.4 million this week to claim the number one spot. Number two, surprisingly for me, World War Z grabs the number two spot with $66.4 million. Slipping to number three is the aforementioned Man of Steel, still bringing in an impressive $41.2 million. However, it is a 65% drop. Now, any drop over 55% is significant. The numbers are seriously down. I mentioned last week that the Bling Ring was a little bit down the list, only opened in 4 theaters. I just want to see if I can find out exactly what the numbers were last week. I'm going to look them up here. Okay, so the Bling Ring, as I mentioned last week, brought in $214,395 on 5 screens. That averaged $42,879 per screen. In comparison, Man of Steel brought in $116.6 million last week, averaging $27,720 per screen. Flip ahead to this week. The Bling Ring did not crack the top 10, and I know I stopped at number 3, but I just want to talk about this. The Bling Ring did not crack the top 10, increased its theater count by 645, brought in $2 million, and only brought in an average of $3,000 per screen. So it did better, and it jumped 10 spots, and I think the increased theater count helped, but they're still only in 650 theaters, which means it's still a very limited release when you consider Man of Steel is now sitting at 4,207 theaters. And that's not just like locations, that's screens. For my personal theater, we're showing it on 3 screens. So out of those 4,207, 3 screens are at my theater. So 4,204 screens in the rest of the places around the North America market. So continuing on with the list, number 4 is This Is the End, which drops from number 2, bringing in another $13.2 million. Now You See Me falls to number 5 with $7.8 million. Fast and Furious 6 drops to number 6 at $4.9 million. The Purge falls to number 7 with $3.5 million. The Internship brings in another $3.4 million in the 8th spot. Star Trek Into Darkness still holding on in the top 10 with $3.1 million, and it's at number 9. And holding on to the 10th spot for the second week in a row, $2.2 million, Iron Man 3, and this film has now grossed over $403 million North American, and I believe it's over $1.2 billion worldwide. Let's just take a quick little peek here. 1.207, so $1.2 billion worldwide for Iron Man 3. So as many as myself and others have predicted, Man of Steel will not break any box office records, despite the fact that DC and Superman fans said it would. And as a side note, it is now in its second week, and it will continue to drop down the list, yet to make the budget. So, still no profit from this movie. Still got ways to go to make the budget. It will make it, but it's going to take a couple of weeks. They still need over $15 million to make budget. They could make that this coming week. It could easily be done. The reason why I say that is because it made $41 million this past weekend. There are 2 new movies coming out this week. Those 2 movies are The Heat and White House Down. Both of them are going to attract people. The Heat has Sandra Bullock and Melissa McCarthy. She's been pretty strong, especially since the Bridesmaids thing. So that's going to bring in a lot of people. It's a good action comedy. Then you have White House Down, which is pure action. Of course, we've already seen this movie, some might say, but, you know, Channing Tatum draws an audience. Jamie Foxx draws an audience. So Man of Steel is probably going to rake in, I'd say between 15 to 20 million. So they'll probably make budget next week. But then still they need to make more to make profit, which they will do. But again, not going to break any box office records, not going to touch any Marvel properties, not going to crack the top 5, maybe not even the top 10 grossing movies of all time. Just so while it's good, it's still not great. So let's get to some movie news. As I said, the 2 movies coming out this week are White House Down, starring Channing Tatum and Jamie Foxx, and The Heat, starring Sandra Bullock and Melissa McCarthy. So look for those in your local theater, and let's move on. Sin City, A Dame to Kill For, has moved its release date. The movie was supposed to be released this year, October 4th, 2013. It is now being pushed back. It is now not going to be released until August 22nd, 2014. So this movie has been waited for many, many years, and you're going to wait longer, because this, I don't know why. I guess Robert Rodriguez and Frank Miller are working hard, and production began last October, and they've been working for over a year. Still not done. Well, they have worked for almost a year when it was supposed to be released, but now it's going to be over a year by the time it is released. I mean, you add 10 months to the filming schedule or to the production schedule. This movie better be fan-fracking-tastic, because it's been so long since the original Sin City, and it's just ridiculous. But I'm excited for it when it eventually comes out. Just not sure when that's going to be. Well, we know what they say. Breaking news! It seems that Mark Webb has had a change of heart, and Mary Jane, who is going to be played by Shailene... How do you pronounce this name? Shailene Woodley? Whatever. Shailene, I guess, would be it. I guess it's Woodley. Woodley? Yeah. Shailene Woodley has been cut. She's no longer going to be in Amazing Spider-Man 2. They're going to push that role to the 3rd film. The quote from Shailene says, "Of course I'm bummed, but I'm a firm believer in everything happening for a specific reason. Based on the proposed plot, I completely understand holding off on introducing Mary Jane until the next film." Now, I've always said, since I've seen the first Amazing Spider-Man, that they're going to kill Gwen Stacy in the 3rd movie. My theory has always been that movie number 2, we will not, I repeat, not see the Green Goblin unless it's part of a final scene in the movie, or even a credit scene in the movie, a la, the Thanos scene from Avengers, or the Shawarma scene from Avengers. Either just after the credits start, or just at the end of the credits. So, we're not going to see Green Goblin as a major character in the 2nd movie. He will, however, be a major character in the 3rd movie, in my opinion, and this is where Gwen Stacy will die, hence pushing... excuse me, big yawn there. Hence pushing the role of Mary Jane, not needed till the 3rd movie. Now, those 2 movies have already gotten release dates. The 3rd movie is going to come out in 2016, the 4th one in 2018. So, it's not out of the realm of possibility that they're just pushing it back. Some people have said that Shailene was fired. She wasn't. Her role was just put back. As far as everybody knows, Mark Webb has said that I made a creative decision to streamline the story and focus on Peter and Gwen and their relationship. Shailene is an incredibly talented actress, and while we only shot a few scenes with Mary Jane, we all love working with her. Okay, now on the heels of that, it was announced that Sarah Gadon joins the Amazing Spider-Man franchise, and immediately people thought, oh, she's replacing Shailene, she's the new Mary Jane. No. 100% confirmed. Sarah Gadon is not Mary Jane. She is in the Amazing Spider-Man 2 very briefly, but she is not playing Mary Jane, who will not appear, as was stated by Mark Webb, until Part 3. A farce False. False rumors started that Sarah replaced Shailene as MJ. She confirmed to ET Canada that she is in the movie. Fans made a connection. It's wrong. Nothing to report. So calm down. No drama here to see. Mark Webb cut MJ's appearance to streamline the story. Now, reiterating the news, Guérin herself took to Twitter with the following message. To all those at Twitter, she writes, I will not be playing MJ in Spider-Man. I have a role in the film, but it's not that one. Now, there are two people to be considered right now. There is an actress currently filming the movie. Her name is, I'm just going to double check because I'm not sure if I got it right. Yes, Felicity Jones. She is going to be in The Amazing Spider-Man. Her role has not been revealed. It's rumored that she could be playing the Black Cat. Now, I don't think this is totally true. They are keeping her role a little bit under wraps, but now with the addition of Sarah Gadon, or Gadon, however she says her last name, Gadon, Sarah Gadon, I don't know, get off, who knows? With that addition, she definitely could be Black Cat or Felicia Hardy. But it has been rumored that Felicity Jones could be Felicia Hardy, aka Black Cat. So it is hard to say until we know any confirmation on what Felicity Jones' character, what speculations could be going around for Sarah Gadon. She could very easily be Black Cat. I lost my train of thought. However, there's other characters in the Spider-Man mythos that could definitely be that she could be. So let the rumor mills fly, but she is not Mary Jane. So get that out of your heads, people. She was not replacing Shailene Woodley as Mary Jane. That character, that story arc has been pushed to the third movie. Get over it. Okay, so let's move on from the Amazing Spider-Man news, and let's get to something else. Let's see here. Oh, yes, director announced for the 50 Shades of Grey movie. Sam Taylor Johnson will be directing the popular book series first book, 50 Shades of Grey. Sam's work includes, let's see if I can find some work that she's done. And I have to go to another page, so I didn't want to. Okay. Oh, well, here's the quote from DeLuca, who's producing the film. Sam's unique ability to gracefully showcase complex relationships dealing with love, emotion, and sexual chemistry make her the ideal director to bring Christian and Anastasia's relationship to life. E.L. James's characters and vivid storytelling require a director who's willing to take risks and push the envelope where needed, and Sam is a natural fit. Okay, her most recently directed film was Nowhere Boy, which was the story of John Lennon's childhood in Liverpool. She won a BAFTA. The film got 2 BAFTA nominations. They also won Astounding British Film and Astounding Debut of a British Writer, Director, or Producer. She also directed the short Love You More, which was nominated for a Palme d'Or in 2008. And she's currently in development on a film for Columbia Pictures based on the novel by Robert Gurlick, A Reliable Wife, which is also being produced by DeLuca, which is probably where he got the idea to hire her for 50 Shades of Grey. So, 50 Shades of Grey fans, your director is a woman. Her name is Sam Taylor Johnson. So, the movie is moving forward with a director now. Okay, filmmaker Paul Feig developing a female spy movie. Now, Paul Feig, you may not recognize the name, but you probably recognize his work. He recently had the successful movie Bridesmaids, and is now also the producer, or is he the director? the producer for The Heat, which is going to be coming out this Friday. And now he's developing a new female-friendly comedy called Susan Cooper, which is meant to be a possible female spy franchise. He's likened it to a cross between a James Bond for females. Like, he wants it to be funny, but he doesn't want to go overboard like Johnny English was, and it's going to be a little bit more humorous than a James Bond film. But that is where he's going with that right now, and that's being developed by the same producer of Bridesmaids and this week's The Heat. So we'll have to see where that goes from here on out. Jurassic Park 4 news. Earlier, I think this month, it was revealed that Jurassic Park 4 was put on hold. Now, it's possible that Jurassic Park 4 will be released in 2015. The license at the Licensing Expo 2013 in Las Vegas, there was a new banner spotted proclaiming a new 2015 release date. Now, no month or anything, just it said Jurassic Park, the big Jurassic Park logo, 2015. The movie is supposedly shot completely in 3D, and Universal has yet to deny any of these reports. Now, continuing with that, there's been spoilers, possibly, of what the movie will be about. And it's going to be a reboot, but not reboot. They're returning to the original island, Isla Nublar, which is the original island from the original Jurassic Park. In this movie, there's an actual theme park with the dinosaurs tamed down. There will be an underwater dinosaur. There will also be a new dinosaur that's supposed to wreak havoc. And now the old dinosaurs, the Velociraptor and the T-Rex, are maybe going to be working with the people to take down this new dinosaur, which still has not yet been revealed. So it's hard to say what this movie's actually going to be about, but it looks like it's going to be a partial reboot in a sense that they're returning to the original island, but it is going to have new stuff, and there is going to be an actual theme park, so it's just really weird. No word on if any of the original cast members will be returning to this sequel. Funny little story that I found. It seems that people are concerned with J.J. Abrams not contacting George Lucas about Episode 7. Why would he? George Lucas sold Lucasfilms to Disney. George Lucas has really no need to be involved. People are saying, well, one might think J.J. Abrams should have asked George Lucas about anything and everything. No. In fact, I would prefer if J.J. Abrams stays the freak away from George Lucas. George Lucas has single-handedly killed his own franchise. By putting out those stupid prequel movies, any fans of the original series hate them. The only people that like them are kids. Star Wars are not kids' movies. They're political movies that are action-oriented. Yes, kids can watch them, but let's be real here. Throwing Jar Jar Binks in was dumb. The whole Part 2, Star Trek Episode 2, was just boring as heck and focused way too much on the love story between Padme and Anakin. The third movie was an abomination, and Hayden Christensen's acting was terrible, and I hate saying that because he's a Canadian actor, and he's done one good movie that I know of. Maybe that's all he had in him, but it wasn't Star Wars, I tell you that. I just want J.J. Abrams to go in a new direction. George Lucas does not need to be consulted. He's there, he's available, sure, but I don't think J.J. Abrams needs to talk to him, and anybody who thinks he does, too bad. I disagree, and the fact that it's making news, and I'm talking about it on my podcast, is even too much. Alright, BioShock creator is going to, has signed on a deal to write the script for the Logan's Run remake. There's an ancient Zen koan you may have heard. It goes like this. One day, a student asked his master, "Master, how do you interest the managing editor of Giant Freaking Robot in an unnecessary remake of Logan's Run?" The master thought for a moment. Then he threw scalding hot tea into the student's face and screamed, "The internet hasn't even been invented yet, you idiot!" Sorry, I just had to read that. Giant Freaking Robot, not a sponsor, but where I got this information. The guy who created BioShock has been tapped by Warner Brothers to write. The guy's name is Ken Levine. He wrote the BioShock video game. He's been tapped to write this script for the remake to 1976 Logan's Run. Now, Logan's Run has been in the works for ages. Bryan Singer was initially going to direct it. He left the project in 2006. Nicholas Winding Refn and actor Ryan Gosling were attached. They backed out. It's kind of starting over. It's been so much and so long. So maybe the point is this movie shouldn't be remade. Some movies just shouldn't be remade. But you know, Hollywood, they don't care. They just want to make everything over and over and over and over and over and over again. It's ridiculous. Maybe they should leave this one alone. Speaking of remakes / reboots, the Highlander reboot has no actor. Ryan Reynolds has backed out. It was an amicable split, but Reynolds did not feel that the role was right for him. It looks like they need now a new actor to play the Connor McLeod role, which was immortalized by Christopher Lambert in the first Highlander film series. If I could pick anyone right now to play that role, I'm not sure that I could come up with a great example. The only ones that come to mind are Liam Hemsworth, Chris Hemsworth, possibly James McAvoy. Those are the only ones that come to my mind right now, but they're all so busy, I just don't see any of them taking it. Maybe this is the point where you go with an unknown, which means I couldn't predict because he's unknown, and you start, because Christopher Lambert did not do much before Highlander, and he was pretty much an unknown at that point. Like, he's done some stuff, obviously, like to get recognized, but I mean, if you look at what his body of work entailed post Highlander, it was definitely much better than before Highlander. So it's hard to say. Okay, let's see. Highlander was 86. So before 86, he'd done some French movies. The biggest movie he had done before 86 was playing Tarzan in Greystoke, The Legend of Tarzan, Lord of the Apes. That was his biggest role before the Highlander. Then Highlander took off, and from then on he went and did the Highlander franchise. He's appeared in many different movies as minor league characters or cameo roles that people love. He's Lord Raiden to a lot of people who've watched the original Mortal Kombat movie. He was Beowulf in the 1999 movie Beowulf. He played in the Fortress franchise. He's played in television shows with guest appearances. He even, unfortunately, had a role in Ghost Rider Spirit of Vengeance. So, I mean, his body of work has been so much more since Highlander, because that's where he started, really. That's where people learned about Christopher Lambert, and maybe you got to go back to that. Maybe you got to get somebody who's a little bit unknown. Maybe you've done a role or two here and there, but pretty much an unknown. 20th Century Fox has set dates for Independence Day 2, Assassin's Creed, Apes, and X-Men. So let's get to them. The release dates for Independence Day 2, July 3rd, 2015. Also, Assassin's Creed, starring Michael Fassbender, May 22nd, 2015, which was originally slated for June 19th. So it's bumped up. Like I said, you want to come out before that June 15th date. That's the key. 20th Century Fox has swapped date for X-Men Days of Future Past and Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. The X-Men Days of Future Past will now, instead of coming out in July, will now come out May 23rd, 2014. And Dawn of the Planet of the Apes is replacing that and coming out July 18th, 2014. I think they want to get a jump on the competition with X-Men coming out May 23rd. Again, as I said, you want to come out before that June 15th date when you're a summer movie, because after that it's just blockbuster after blockbuster after most anticipated movies, and so on and so forth. This gives X-Men Days of Future Past a couple of weeks, probably atop the charts, depending on how good it is. Moving on to the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie. William Fichtner, who was cast and rumored to be playing an iconic stature within the mythology of the series, has confirmed who he will be playing. He is, quote, "I play Shredder. It is cool. It is one of those things that come along where I thought, really? Let me think about this for a minute. Then I was like, yeah, okay, this sounds like a journey. I'm very glad that it worked out. I'm really glad that I'm doing it." Now, I am going to probably see this movie when it comes out June 6th next year, but here's the thing. It's still a Michael Bay produced film, and it still has Megan Fox playing April O'Neil. So my expectations are extremely low. William Fichtner as the Shredder, expectations go up a little bit. Now, I know people are saying, well, he's not Asian. He's not Oriental. He's not, he doesn't have what people in their mind think Shredder should look like. But you know what? In movies these days, everything changes. And as we saw with the recent Man of Steel movie, you don't get everything you want. So, deal with it. Don't go see it if you don't really like him as Shredder. But I mean, there's much better reasons than him to not see this movie. Personally, I'll probably see it. It's a Ninja Turtles movie. I'm probably going to see it. Moving on, Dwayne Johnson, who is going to play Hercules in the new Hercules reboot, or, well, I shouldn't call it a reboot, the new Hercules movie, which is based on a graphic novel, Hercules, the Thracian Wars, now has its villain. Tobias Santelman will be playing the villain named Rhesus, and he will be the bad guy, the villain for the movie that Dwayne Johnson will have to fight. So that's all the news that I have there. So that's been announced. I think last week or the week before I announced that Karen Gillan's role in Guardians of the Galaxy was going to be Angela, based on just rumors going around. Apparently that may not be the case. Angela, as we know, is a character that was created by Neil Gaiman, recently returning to Marvel as a sort of an avenging angel type thing. She is still playing a villain in the movie. She's not the lead villain. However, they're saying Karen will not play the flame-haired, sword-wielding bounty hunter in the Guardians of the Galaxy movie. So, now, this is also just a rumor because Marvel has not said anything official. Marvel has not made this announcement. It's just been reported by sources, not a sponsor, but bleedingcool.com sources. They have pretty good sources. They found that she's not going to be playing Angela, but she is the lead female villain in the movie, and we're still waiting to see who's actually the lead villain. And we know it's Ronan the Accuser, but we don't know if it's Benicio del Toro playing him or Lee Pace playing him. So that's still up in the air. Also still up in the air for this movie is Rocket Raccoon and Groot. We still have nobody knows who's voicing those two characters yet. Taken 3. That's right. Not only does his daughter get taken in the first movie, his wife get taken in the second movie. Something's going to happen where somebody gets taken in Taken 3. And Liam Neeson and his gigantic member are back. Yes, Liam Neeson will be returning to the Taken franchise, and so will the $20 million paycheck go to him that for this movie. He is rumored to be paying. It's not 20 million exactly. It'll be nearly 20 million to return. Robert Kamen and Luc Besson will again write the screenplay for the third film, and Kamen said that this one will offer a new twist on the franchise formula, so maybe something else happens. Now, Taken 2 pulled in 375 million worldwide, which actually beat the first movie, which took in 226. Maggie Grace, who played his daughter, and Famke Janssen, who played his wife, are in negotiations to return to the roles, but neither has been confirmed at this time. Alright, I think it was last week where I said Dumb and Dumber would not be released by Warner Brothers, and they were passing on it. It was given up. However, Universal and Red Granite Pictures stepped in, and they are still going to be bringing Dumb and Dumber 2 to the big screen. So, look for this movie in the future. The Farrelly brothers, Peter and Bobby, will be working with Jim Carrey and Jeff Daniels? Jeff Daniels? I think that's right. For the sequel, and looks like it's still got life. Finally, in movie news for the entertainment section, Disney has set some dates for releases. The Cinderella movie, directed by Kenneth Branagh, will be coming out March 13th, 2015. They've also revealed 2 mystery projects from Marvel, and they're part of Phase 3. So, as we know, Iron Man 3 came out, making the launch of Phase 2 official. And on November 8th, we get Thor the Dark World. Then in 2014, on April 4th, we get Captain America the Winter Soldier. On August 1st, we'll get Guardians of the Galaxy. In 2015, Marvel's The Avengers 2 concludes Phase 2 on May 1st, 2015. And then Phase 3 will begin later that year, in 2015, on November 6th, with Ant-Man. Now, 2016, May 6th, we'll have another Marvel movie. And 2 months later, a third Marvel movie, or a second mystery one, for, a second mystery one targeted for 2 months later, so May 6th, so that would make it another July movie, a May-July lineup, and then a third movie already targeted for May 5th, 2017. Now, the rumors in the past that what we'll see in Phase 3 are Doctor Strange, Black Panther, and possibly a Hulk movie, and then 2017 could be when we see Marvel's The Avengers 3. Now, if they follow the same formula as Phase 2, however, I predict that it will be 2018 before we see Avengers 3. However, that could change depending on how actors get signed and what they're bringing in and what stories they want to tell leading up to it. Because, as rumored, Thanos may not be the big bad of number 2, so they may not want to wait 3 extra years, like 3 years, to announce to have the Thanos movie, basically. So, if we were to look at it like this, we'll have Ant-Man, we'll have possibly Doctor Strange, possibly Black Panther, and then we'll get Avengers in 2017. So that would still give us 4 movies. Now, that's kind of what happened this time. We got Iron Man, we're getting Thor, we're getting Captain America, Guardians of the Galaxy, and then Avengers 2. So it's quite possible that May 5th date, 2017, Avengers 3. So it's very possible. I guess only time will tell when we get more updates. So, moving on to television news. Just a little bit of television news this week. NBC and the CW announced their fall lineups. NBC announced that they're going to go with a sporadic start for most of their premieres. As I mentioned last week, CBS is jam-packing theirs into basically 8 days. NBC's is spacing theirs out. They're going to start September 23rd-ish, and their last premiere is sometime October 3rd, But Grimm actually does not debut until October 25th, so that would be a long wait for all of their shows to premiere. So they're spacing theirs out a little bit more. I will again post the link in the description below if you want to check out which shows are being renewed, which shows are new, and which shows are not coming back. Also, the CW has announced their premieres and their lineup. Again, they're spacing theirs out as well. New series for the CW include the Tomorrow People, Rain, and I'll post this in the description below, and you can check that out, see if your shows are coming back, and if they're not, what can replace them. I will say this, NBC has renewed Revolution for you Revolution fans out there. Law & Order SVU is definitely coming back. New show, Michael J. Fox Show, which I'm looking forward to. I'm probably going to add it to my Showtime schedule. Grimm, I'm looking forward to returning. From the CW, of course, Arrow is returning. For you freaks out there, Vampire Diaries is returning. And then they have Supernatural returning. And also new series, as I said, The Tomorrow People and Rain. And Rain is spelled REIGN, like as in a reign of terror. And it could be a reign of terror because it's supposed to be some focusing on Mary Queen of Scots, so who knows. Alright, before we take a little break, I just want to have a little bit of news from the gaming world. As I said last week and the week before at E3, Xbox was losing, and they're still losing in my opinion. However, they have done a 180. The Xbox One has done a 180. The price is still going to be $100 more. However, they've decided to listen to their fans, sort of, and they are not going to make you sign in every 24 hours online. They're going to make discs available from retailers. You will also be able to share games and resell games. So that is a change from their original stance that they weren't going to allow that. Xbox One is going to be a lot like the Xbox 360 when it comes like that. However, they're not taking the technology out. So don't be surprised if in 6 months all of that returns, and then everything sold after 6 months will be as they initially announced at E3. PlayStation did it with PlayStation 3. A lot of people say, well, PlayStation 3 is not backwards compatible. Yes, it is. When it first launched, it was definitely backwards compatible. Fully backwards compatible. 6 to 8 months later, when the second generation of the PS3 was launched, not launched, but released, they stopped doing the backwards compatibility. In fact, I always wait longer to buy my systems, one, usually due to money, and two, because the first releases always have bugs, and there's always time to work them out. When I bought mine literally 3 months after my friend bought his. His was fully backwards compatible. Mine was not. They did not make them anymore. Xbox One could do the exact same thing and would be well within their rights to do that as it's their property. So before we get to the last section, as always, which is sports, we're going to take a little break.
Hi, I'm Rob Cicchetto, creator of Zombie Portraits. You can check out Zombie Portraits at zombieportraits.com.
So, thanks, Rob Cicchetto, and remember to check out zombieportraits.com. Okay, so moving on to sports. Let's get right to what everybody's probably wondering about that's listening to sports. Yes, we have a new Stanley Cup champion, and your 2013 Stanley Cup champions are the Chicago Blackhawks. They pulled out a win in Game 6 tonight. I'm recording Monday, remember that, folks. I'm recording Monday, so Game 6 was Monday. If it had gone to Game 7, well, you would have been watching it after listening to the podcast, but now you know the Stanley Cup champions are the Chicago Blackhawks. The Conn Smythe winner for most valuable player during the playoffs was Patrick Kane of the Blackhawks, and he finished with 9 goals, 10 assists in 22 games. I don't think he was the guy who deserved it the most. I thought Corey Crawford deserved it more. That's my opinion, and even Kane said it. He says, I think there's a lot of guys that deserved it. I think Corey Crawford might have gotten snubbed, to be honest with you. I'll tell you what, it's a heck of an achievement. I think it speaks more for my team than myself personally. Well said, Patrick Kane, because I agree with you. Corey Crawford deserved the Conn Smythe of this playoffs, especially after Game 6. Because if it wasn't for Corey Crawford, this could have been easily a 4-0 game after the first period, and then it pretty much would have went to Game 7 because Boston ruined it. Now, that being said, Chicago won this very weirdly. They were trailing with 1 minute and change, 1 minute and 30 left in the period. They were losing 2-1. They pulled their goalie and tied the game with 1 minute 16 seconds remaining in the period. 17 seconds later, Dave Bolland scored the game-winning goal to push the Chicago Blackhawks to the Stanley Cup and to their second one in the last 3 or 4 years. I think it's 3 years. So, congratulations to the Chicago Blackhawks. I picked you to win. Joey picked you to win. I believe the dice didn't pick you to win, though. Let's double check. I didn't pull that one up. Let's see. Did the dice predict you to win? The dice... No, the dice predict the Bruins. So the dice lose. They finish 7-8. Joey had the best record. Joey was a impressive record. 12-3 for the playoffs. Only 3 series wrong. Very well done to Joey. We'll hope to get him on here during some football stuff because he likes the football as well. I finished the season or the playoffs 10-5, pretty respectable, but not enough to beat Joey. I only got 5 series wrong, and it's probably because I picked the Leafs to win, and I had to. I was a Leafs fan, and I hated certain teams, and I picked against them. So yeah, but that's okay. I picked the finals. I picked the cup winners from the start of the playoffs. The Chicago Blackhawks won. Let's look at some statistics for the finals playoffs. Points leader was David Krejci of the Boston Bruins with 26. Your assist leader was also David Krejci with 17. Your goals leader was actually Patrick Sharp with 10. Your plus-minus leader was Nathan Horton with a plus 20. Goals against average, as I said, the person who should have been the MVP, the Conn Smythe Trophy winner, Corey Crawford, 1.84. He also had the most wins with 16, obviously. They won the cup. 16 wins has to win you the cup. Tuukka Rask did beat out Crawford in the save percentage area with a 940 save percentage. He also was the leader, tied with Jonathan Quick of the Kings, who were eliminated in the conference finals with 3 shutouts. So those are your final statistics for the playoffs. No hockey now until October, which means the only sport we'll be talking about here is pretty much baseball. There will be announcements of any trades, like we have the draft day coming up for the NHL. We'll talk about that when that comes. But sports is going to be a slimmed down section of this podcast. That's okay. I know most of my fans are listening to the first part of the podcast more than the last part. I still do it because, hey, I enjoy it and it's my freaking podcast. Now, talking about trades and stuff. Draft day coming up. Trades happening in the NHL. The Toronto Maple Leafs, my favorite team, the Toronto Maple Leafs, have traded Matt Fratton and Ben Scrivens to the Los Angeles Kings for backup goaltender Jonathan Bernier. However, he was a backup in LA. Could he be the starter in Toronto? There will be a battle. Jonathan Bernier versus James Reimer when the preseason and training camps open in September. There will be a heated competition to see which one will win the position. It is expected that Jonathan Bernier will actually be the number 1 goalie, but James Reimer got the Leafs to the playoffs for the first time in almost 10 years, so you gotta give credit where credit was due. Also, James Reimer and the Toronto Maple Leafs gave the Boston Bruins, who were the Stanley Cup losers tonight, the only 7-game series that they faced in the playoffs, and their only true elimination series until the Stanley Cup final. They breezed through the second and third rounds, the Boston Bruins. The Toronto Maple Leafs did not make it easy on them, but they persevered, and Boston went all the way to the finals. Congratulations to them. Definitely congratulations to the Boston Bruins. But Chicago did win the Cup. I predicted that from the get-go. They were the best team all year. The President's Trophy hasn't meant Stanley Cup in a lot of years. Chicago has done it this year. Toronto, did they get better with adding Bernier? We'll have to see. Bernier's happy to be coming to Toronto, although his family might not be. See, Jonathan Bernier's family are Montreal Canadiens fans, and now they have to put on a Toronto Maple Leaf sweater to cheer on their son/nephew, whatever family, is related. So we'll just have to wait and see when the family shows up. As I said, it's going to be a heated battle in net now for Toronto between James Reimer and Jonathan Bernier, but that's to be left until training camp. I will say this. With the draft looming, it has been mentioned that Dion Phaneuf could be traded at the draft. We definitely better get a good defenseman out of the deal, and maybe something that we can package together to get, and I'll repeat this as often as I need to, we need Max Domi. By the time I record my next podcast, we'll know who the Toronto Maple Leafs drafted. Because the draft day is Sunday. Might even put out a special one on Monday to reveal the draft class of 2013. It has been reported that Nathan MacKinnon will be the first overall pick, which I think is a bad move on Colorado's part. They should draft the hometown boy, Seth Jones. But, you know what? If they want the third-line center, Nathan MacKinnon, to be their third-line center, which is what coach Patrick Roy has said he would be to start the season, that's going to be good for whoever drafts second. I can't think of that. I think it's Columbus that might draft second this year, and they're going to get a damn good defenseman, Seth Jones. So we'll just have to wait and see when the draft happens on Sunday. I want the Leafs to do everything humanly possible to get Max Domi into Toronto. He's a good centerman. The Leafs need a good centerman. He'd be a fan favorite right from the get-go, being the son of Ty Domi, who's a huge fan favorite in Toronto. Make it happen, notice. That is an order from the fans, especially this one. So that is it for hockey until next week when we do the draft, but pretty much it for hockey for a while. So let's move on to baseball. This one sport that we'll be covering until I can figure something else out to cover. Maybe we'll start covering the CFL. Might do that. All right, so baseball, American League standings. Your AL East leading Boston Red Sox with a 45-33 record. In the West, it's the Texas Rangers with a 44-32 record. In the Central, it is the Detroit Tigers with a 42-32 record. Your wild card holders right now, it's just a little bit of a log jam, but we got the Oakland Athletics holding on to the top wild card spot right now with a 44-34 record, and the New York Yankees holding on to the second wild card at the moment with a 41-34 record. Toronto Blue Jays went on an 11-game tear and are now only 3 back in the wild card and 3 back in the division. I think 4 back in the division. Let me just double check that. I'm very impressed that they reeled off an 11-game winning streak. Unfortunately, that did come to an end against Tampa Bay, a team that Toronto always has trouble with when they play in Tampa. But yes, 3 games back in both the wild card and the division. That is impressive for a team that looked like it was going to finish bottom of the barrel. So maybe they have something left in them for the remainder of the season. They've got 2 more games against Tampa Bay before they take on the Boston Red Sox in Boston. If they can win, I would say 4 out of those 5 games, I'd be impressed. And maybe they can make some moves up in this division. So I'm only giving them 1 loss in the next 5 games, so that means let's win these next 2 against Tampa, and then go into Boston and win at least 2 there. That'd be awesome. So now that being said, they haven't won a series in Tampa since 2007, so that's highly unlikely. But who knows? Maybe they only win 1 in Tampa and then sweep Boston. It's not out of the realm of possibility. Moving on to the National League, your National League Central leaders are the St. Louis Cardinals with a 47-29 record. Your NL East leaders are the Atlanta Braves with a 44-33 record. Arizona is leading the West with a 41-34 record, and your wild card holders right now are the Pittsburgh Pirates with a 46-30 record, and the second wild card is the Cincinnati Reds with a 45-32 record. Let's move on to some statistics. Your average leaders: Miguel Cabrera of the Tigers with a .370 batting average. Yadier Molina with the Cardinals with a .353 batting average. Troy Tulowitzki of the Rockies with a .347 batting average. Note, he is injured right now. Michael Kadire of the Rockies with .339 batting average. And rounding out the five, Jean Segura of the Brewers with a .336 batting average. Excuse me, I spelled his name wrong. Just want to correct that. I want to note, last week I said Adam Lind was not eligible, and his average at that time was .350, which would have put him third. Now his average has dipped, however, he has now qualified to be eligible to be noted. So he is 8th on the list currently with batting .330. I just wanted to note that Adam Lind has now reached eligibility, so if he continues to improve, like he did drop a bit, he had a couple of bad games. If he picks it back up to where he was, he could definitely be in the top 5 next week or in a couple of weeks' time. He's definitely a player to watch out for. He's been hot this year, and that's always a good sign. Your home run leaders: Chris Davis of the Orioles with 27 leads the way. Edwin Encarnacion of the Jays and Carlos Gonzalez of the Rockies, each with 21 homers. And Miguel Cabrera of the Tigers and Adam Dunn of the White Sox, each with 20. Your RBI leaders: Miguel Cabrera of the Tigers with 75. Chris Davis of the Orioles with 70, and he had 10 RBIs this past week. That's pretty big. Paul Goldschmidt of the Diamondbacks with 65 RBIs. Edwin Encarnacion of the Jays with 63. Brandon Phillips of the Reds with 60. Stolen bases leaders: Jacoby Ellsbury pulls ahead of the injured Everett Cabrera and now has 32 stolen bases. That Everett Cabrera has 31 stolen bases, but as I said, he is injured right now. And Jacoby Ellsbury is of the Red Sox, Everett Cabrera of the Padres. Nate McLouth of the Orioles has 24 stolen bases. Jean Segura of the Brewers has 23. And Starling Marte of the Pirates has 22. Moving on to the pitching statistics, your ERA leaders are Clay Buchholz of the Red Sox with a 1.71 ERA. Jeff Locke of the Pirates with a 2.01 ERA. Matt Harvey of the Mets with a 2.05 ERA. Clayton Kershaw of the Los Angeles Dodgers with a 2.06 ERA. And rounding out the top 5, Patrick Corbin of the Diamondbacks with a 2.19 ERA. Your wins leaders: Max Scherzer of the Tigers with 11 wins, leads the majors. Bartolo Colon of the Athletics, Lance Lynn of the Cardinals, Adam Wainwright also of the Cardinals, and Jordan Zimmerman of the Nationals, each with 10 wins. Your strikeout leaders: still holding strong with the number 1 spot, Yu Darvish with 137 strikeouts of the Texas Rangers. Max Scherzer of the Tigers has 122 strikeouts. Matt Harvey of the Mets struck out 18 this past week to bring his total up to 121. Jeff Samardzija of the Cubs has 115 strikeouts, and Felix Hernandez rounds out the top 5 with the Mariners with 112 strikeouts. Your saves leaders are Jason Grilli of the Pirates with 26. He had his first blown save this week. Stuff happens, but that's okay. Also with 26 saves, Jim Johnson of the Orioles and Mariano Rivera of the Yankees. Joe Nathan of the Rangers has 25 saves, and then 3 others are tied at 21. So that's your statistics for baseball this week. That is actually the show for this week. Nothing left for this week. I hope you join next week. Come back, listen to some more of me getting upset about Man of Steel, possibly. No, maybe we'll leave it alone next week. But come back every week. Enjoy the show. I hope you enjoy the network. Remember, every Monday, Ehnother Podcast, Real Tuesday, and Warlock Wednesday. Also on Sunday, the syndicated show, Is This Thing On? Still got some shows in the works, so we may fill this whole week schedule out. But for now, enjoy the shows that we've got, and I hope you come back. I'm out. Thanks for listening to Ehnother Podcast from Ehnotherpodcast.com. Don't forget to go on iTunes and or download right from Ehnotherpodcast.com. That's EHNOTHER podcast.com. Follow us on Twitter at Ehnother Podcast. Be sure to check back for tomorrow's show only on Ehnother Podcast, your Canadian podcast network. Ehnotherpodcast.com. Not a sponsor.